Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight I have something extra special for you. Our guest is Wendy Jeffries Crowder. She is a PKD patient who had a double nephrectomy, who's also seeking a preemptive kidney transplant as her current transplanted kidney is failing after 15 years, Wendy?
13.
13, okay. Wendy has had a lifetime of pain as a result of polycystic kidney disease. That is a kidney disease that is an inherited disorder where there are clusters of cysts that develop in the kidney. The cysts in polycystic kidney disease are non-cancerous sacs containing water-like fluid. They can grow to be very large. For example, a normal kidney is about the size of your fist. A PKD kidney can grow as large as a football. You can have back, side, or abdominal pain, very common in polycystic kidney disease patients. The growth of those cysts can cause a wide range of problems, including pain in your abdomen, side or lower back, blood in your urine, high blood pressure are all very common with PKD. To help Wendy with her pain, both damaged PKD kidneys were removed, and she was forced to rely on in-center hemodialysis 3 times a week to keep her alive, making it difficult for her to care for her then 6-year-old son, Cody, and her 19-year-old son, as well as her husband, Jeff. She was then listed at John Hopkins Comprehensive Treatment Center under the care of Director Robert A. Montgomery. Wendy was transplanted on December 15th, 2009, in what has been called, quote, a milestone in pioneering incompatible donor kidney transplants, which just happened to be the 100th paired donation kidney transplant at John Hopkins. And by the way, there are links that are going to be scrolling across the screen during the broadcast with all this information. There's a video memorializing these events. Also in the comments to the broadcast, you'll also see copies of these same links. So you can drill down a little bit on Wendy's story if you want to do that. Her husband, Jeff, tried to donate, but he was not a match. So under paired donation, he donated a kidney to a 63-year-old man in Maine, and Wendy, in return, got her kidney from a 60-year-old New Jersey man. Jeff's donation helped 2 others receive their kidneys as well. Unfortunately, Wendy's transplanted kidney has begun to fail some 13 years later, and she is seeking a preemptive kidney transplant. That is a transplant before you go on dialysis. She has currently listed at John Hopkins, located at 601 North Caroline Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21287. The transplant coordinator there is Pam. You can locate her at 4110-955-9435. You can also apply online. All this information, again, will come across the screen during the broadcast, and the links to this will all be in the comments to the broadcast. She is currently also listed at the VCU Health Hume-Lee Transplant Center. The link and the phone number are, again, in the comments, and will stream across the page as we do our broadcast. You can call 804-828-4104 on Wendy's behalf. We've also started a kidney page on Facebook for Wendy. The link to that will be scrolling across the screen as we talk. So please share this broadcast to help this wife and mother who only wants a chance to live a full life with her family. Please give a warm welcome to our friend, Wendy Jeffries Crowder. Wendy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing well, my friend. Doing very well. Did I state everything halfway correctly in the introduction?
Yes, except for my husband's kidney helped one person, and John, my donor, whom I met on the doctor's show, his kidney obviously came to me. It started in New Jersey with a non-direct donor, just came in and said, "Hey, I'd like to donate a kidney." And his wife received that kidney, and in turn, his kidney came to me. And it was 6 people that got a kidney that day. It was a chain of
Okay.
events that happened from a non-altruistic donor that came in and said they would like to donate.
I stand corrected.
Just wanted to
Okay.
keep it straight.
Please tell us a little bit about where you grew up and your employment experiences.
So I grew up in a little town called Spotsylvania County, Virginia. I had some odd and end jobs while living in Spotsylvania, and when we moved to Dunsville, Virginia, I started working for the hospital. I was the office manager there, and I did coding until I went out sick in 2009 with my kidneys.
Okay. I understand that you are a married lady with children. What is your husband's name?
His name is Jeff.
And I know you have 3 children. Am I correct about that?
That's correct.
What are their first name and ages?
So our oldest is Sean, he's 35, Justin is 33, and Cody is 19.
Oh, wow. Cody sneaking in there near the end.
He was.
All right. It's my understanding that you are a polycystic kidney disease patient who had a double nephrectomy and you're currently seeking a kidney transplant. Is that correct?
That's correct. I had a double nephrectomy and complete hysterectomy July 23rd, 2009.
Okay. And a preemptive kidney transplant, that's a transplant without
Before
going
that.
on dialysis.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about your experience with polycystic kidney disease. When did you first notice that you were experiencing symptoms? When did you
So I
first
didn't
have
know.
issues?
Yeah, I really didn't have any symptoms. My sister and I found out that we may have it. We weren't raised by our biological father. My stepdad, for all intents purposes, raised us. So when we found out, we went and got tested, and we were both positive for PKD. And I think at 19, maybe very early 20s.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Did you ever experience symptoms? Did you ever have problems after you discovered this?
I did. I had cyst ruptures from my mid 20s on, and a lot of infected cysts. Back then I was in the hospital a lot because the infection and the cysts. Now they just kind of want to give you some medication and send you home, but mine would bleed, so I would have a lot of blood in my urine, and I think that was more of the reason that I was probably in the hospital, because I would pass a lot of blood during that time.
Okay.
And for
I
pain
take
management as well.
Okay. I take that you saw a doctor, you were undergoing testing, lab work,
Correct.
ultrasound, C-scan, that type of thing.
Always to and from the doctors. Always to and from the doctor.
Okay. And you were approximately diagnosed 19 or early 20s.
Yes, with PKD. That's correct.
Okay. It's my understanding that your PKD kidneys were so damaged and you were experiencing so much pain that they were both removed, a double nephrectomy. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I had they were large, and I actually have pictures. Dr. Montgomery had pictures of them, and I got them, and I'll send those to you after the show, because
Okay.
one is larger than a football.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they
That's
were pretty
large.
big. They were pretty big.
So this took place at John Hopkins?
Yes, that's correct. I had the double nephrectomy, hysterectomy at Hopkins. Recovered there, started dialysis there as well, and then came home where we live in Dunsville and went to center 3 times a week for dialysis.
Okay. Approximately when did this double nephrectomy take place?
July 23rd, 2009.
Okay. And the recovery time?
Oof. I'm going to say complete recovery was about 6 to 8 weeks. It was a lot. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to sugarcoat it. It was a hard surgery.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
you
hard.
had 2 surgeries basically at the same time, right?
Yes, yes. I had a, bilateral incision, large, but, I felt so much better after the kidneys were taken out and I started to recover, and I knew a transplant was on the horizon. He couldn't transplant me at the same time of taking the kidneys out because of all the infection and everything that was in there. He wanted to make sure that there was no infection going on. We don't want to damage the new kidney.
Right.
So, dialysis was going to be inevitable for me for a little while. And I didn't do very well on dialysis. If people watch the video that they did, Dr. Montgomery explains that I did terrible on dialysis. Some people will say it's because they pulled too much fluid, but the doctors say it's because I'm one of them people that just does not take to dialysis well.
Okay. And you said you started on in-center hemodialysis. Approximately when did this happen?
So I was able to, I stayed all of July, some of August maybe. So I'm going to say within the first 2 weeks of August time frame. I can't give you an exact date, but I probably came home about 3 weeks after the surgery, maybe 2 weeks.
So this would have been like August 2009, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And it's my understanding that this made it very difficult for you to take care of your then 6-year-old son, Cody, your 18-year-old son, Justin, and of course your husband, Jeff?
Yes, it did. Instead of, you go to center and you're supposed to be on for 4 hours. Well, I was 5, 6 hours because I passed out like every day.
Oh.
So it took that long, and I would have to get neighbors to get my son off the bus, and then they wouldn't let me drive home. It was a whole ordeal. Dialysis was every single time I went. It was an ordeal. The girls at center were wonderful. They were absolutely wonderful. I guess my body just didn't take to the dialysis. I was allergic to the filter. They had to have special filters for me. The machine was just beeping all the time.
Oh, man.
And dialysis, I'm thankful for dialysis. It's not a way that I want to live my life, and I don't think it's a way that many people want to live their life. I think that being transplanted and having, a preemptive transplant would be ultimate for everybody out there in the world who's on dialysis. Because I'm sure nobody sits here and says, oh, dialysis is great. It is what it is. It keeps you alive, and, you're tired. You've been on dialysis, you're tired. It takes a lot out of you. It cannot duplicate what the kidney does. It just can't.
Right. I agree with that. And there's nothing quite like being pinched by 2 needles the size of basketball.
So I had a Dayval catheter because I was not a fistula candidate.
Oh, wow. Why was that?
So my veins are only 3 millimeters, and the graft would have had to cure for like a year, and I didn't have a year. So
Wow.
I had a Dayval catheter for the entirety of the time, which was okay because, I didn't have to have a fistula. But had I had to have one and could have got one, they would have proceeded with that route.
Okay. Tremendous risk of infection to your heart, correct?
Yes, yes. I currently have a power port right now for my belatacept infusions to try to keep the kidney that I have as working as possible, if that's a word, to keep it going until we can find a kidney transplant.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
When did you become officially listed at John Hopkins as a candidate for kidney transplant?
This time,
Yes, first time.
well, so I had went to another hospital, and I'm not going to mention the name, and I didn't care for it too much. And I researched the best transplant surgeons in the world. Literally, that's what I typed in. Robert Montgomery came up, right? So
Right.
I made an appointment to go see him. And I mean, we clicked. He was just like, yeah, I could, he could help me. And I was just like, this is wonderful. Like, let's do this. And
Oh,
I mean, it again in the video, you see him holding my hand as they're putting me to sleep. And I promise you, he always wore cowboy boots, and you never heard him coming, ever. So, I researched, we went and seen him. We liked him. We clicked. He's a wonderful surgeon, wonderful doctor. The team was wonderful. And I feel like I got the best care possible.
okay. Talk to us a little bit about your experiences pre-transplant. What kind of testing did you go through?
So because I wasn't 50, at that point, I didn't have to have all the things that I have to do now. So back then I had to have dental clearance. You have to have an EKG, a stress test. I had to have a chest x-ray, an abdominal CAT scan. Lots of blood tests, of course, because they test you for everything under the sun. And now this time around, because I'm 53, you have to do other things, like maybe you have to have, I don't have to because I've already had one, but you may have to have a colonoscopy. You have to have, for a female, your pap smears have to be up to date. Your mammograms have to be up to date. You have to be healthy. All of your medical things need to be up to date. You have to have medical clearance in order to receive a transplant. You have to be healthy, and you have to be vaccinated.
Okay. Did you go through an endoscope too? The second time?
No.
Lucky you.
I have had one before, though. It was uneventful, so maybe that's why.
Okay. Your husband had to go through similar testing pre-transplant, the first transplant?
No. So he's 6'7". So the GFR for him was off. It's actually a funny story. So because he's so tall, the formula is for people who are of average height, or so. And because he's so tall, it showed that his GFR was off, but all of his other tests were good. So they started scratching their heads, and Dr. Montgomery was like, I'm going to talk to this guy. And I forget what country the gentleman was in that he spoke to about it. But basically, they did the formula for somebody his height, and his GFR was good, but he also had to have a kidney biopsy. And it's not like you and I would get a biopsy through the front where our kidneys are. It's through your back, and they say that's very painful. So he kept the kidney that they did the biopsy on. Then they did that because they wanted to make sure before they took his kidney out, his kidneys were working good and they were healthy enough to sustain him and the other person that was going to get the kidney. So they, cross all their T's and dot all their I's to make sure the donor is healthy as well. But not every donor goes through a kidney biopsy. I will say that. Most donors do not have to have a kidney biopsy. It was a very rare thing for him to have that because the GFR was a little wonky and they were like, no, we need to make sure. But I forget what country it was. You could probably ask Dr. Montgomery and he would remember, but they talked to a specialist and they reformulated. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What is your blood type, Wendy?
A positive.
And your husband's blood type?
He's A positive as well.
Okay. Why was he unable to donate directly to you?
So I have antigens or antibodies that make me hard to match. They can come from a blood transfusion, which I've had in the past, or they can come from having multiple children. So what happens is, even though I'm A positive and he's A positive, it's not just the blood that has to match. It's, your antigens. It's different things that have to match. People are like, oh, well, but I'm, B positive or, whatever. Those things don't really matter anymore because there's paired kidney exchange. So say my husband didn't match me, he may match somebody else and somebody else's loved one matches me. So they put all these people into this program that they developed and it pools the people that match your loved one the best. So when your loved one goes to donate the kidney, they send it where it matches that person best, because don't we want everybody to have the kidney that's going to give them the longevity out of it?
Absolutely.
So the program that they've created, the Incompatible Kidney Transplant, is exactly for that reason right there.
Excellent.
And a lot of people don't know we have that, but it is a thing. Ask your center.
Okay. It's my understanding then that you and your husband were in the Hopkins paired donation kidney program and were part of a chain of donations.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, since I botched it up so well in the introduction?
No, you didn't. So we met my donor on, like I said, on the doctors, and very nice man, and his wife is superb. So a person just walked into their hospital in New Jersey and said, I'd like to donate a kidney, but I don't have anybody that I want to donate a kidney to, but I would just like to give the gift of life and donate a kidney. It's called a non-related or altruistic donor. They have no reason to do it, they just want to. So she received her second kidney transplant via the altruistic donor. Her husband's kidney then came to me. My husband's kidney, Dr. Montgomery removed it and sent it to Boston so that the man there, had the best match for him. And then their family's kidney went, somewhere else, and that family's kidney went somewhere else. And it always ends on a donor, giving a kidney or saving a kidney so that they can start another chain. Because that way more people get kidneys.
Excellent.
It's a win for everybody, I feel like.
Okay. So it was a chain donation that was part of the paired donation program at John Hopkins.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have you being transplanted on December 15th, 2009. Is that correct?
Yes.
And one of the things I noticed, and I'm going to show people the link so they can watch the video on your kidney page. Wendy Jeffries Crowder needs kidney, shameless plug. I read an article, and the title of the article was "A Milestone in Pioneering Incompatible Donor Kidney Transplants," which just happened to be the 100th paired donation kidney transplant at John Hopkins. How does it feel to have made history?
You know, I didn't even know we were the 100th until they approached us and said, hey, you're the 100th paired kidney transplant exchange. You know, would you like to do this documentary? And we were like, anything we can do to help get the word out there, we're in. So
Okay.
It feels good to be a part of that. It felt great to get a transplant, though.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And streaming across the screen now, this is the video that we've been talking about. The link is on Wendy's new kidney page. Find a kidney for Wendy Jeffries Crowder. So if you want to check out the video, please do. It's a pretty cool video, by the way. You get to meet the whole cast of characters, mom, dad, docs, everybody. So interesting stuff.
Yeah.
All right. It's my understanding at this point in time that some 13 years later, you're in the process of seeking a preemptive kidney transplant, a transplant before dialysis. Can you tell us how you know the condition of your original transplanted kidney from 2009?
So I had to have several biopsies done at intervals to make sure I wasn't in rejection, because I'm a hard to match patient and I was in the Incompatible transplant program. So part of that protocol is that you have kidney biopsies at certain intervals along the way. So everything was, going smoothly. I think I had some mild rejection to begin with, but they fixed that with plasmapheresis and IVIG therapy. So I kept the Davol catheter in to receive plasmapheresis at at Hopkins. And that's where they take the bad antigens out and get rid of them so that my kidney doesn't say, hey, this is bad, we're going to reject. And they give me back good stuff that doesn't, the kidney doesn't want to reject. It's amazing. Plasmapheresis is amazing. But now they have new things out for that as well, too. So I'm excited about that. I had a biopsy. My creatinine started creeping up a little bit. So my nephrologist at Hopkins, Dr. Kraus, said, go in for a biopsy. I went in, Dr. Brennan did my biopsy, and it came back and they said I had transplant glomerulopathy. So we knew the kidney function was going to start declining. So with that, Dr. Kraus retired semi-retired, sent me to another hospital to get an infusion called belatacept infusions. It helps to keep the kidney stable a little bit longer so that we can get through to the process of preemptive transplant.
Okay. To let people know that you're looking for another live donor, what steps have you taken?
So I have had I've had three family members actually apply. One could not do it. And then a couple people that I know, and I put something off so the people that I know is because I put something on Facebook. And that's how because they didn't even know that I was sick again. So, one always doesn't appear sick, but there's good days and there's bad days. I will say that. So, I put it on Facebook, and I also got in touch with you, and you have been a great help to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I try. It's my understanding that you are currently listed again at John Hopkins,
Yes.
located at 601 North Caroline Street in Baltimore, Maryland. You can call the Transplant Coordinator, Pam. Her number is scrolling across the screen as we speak, 410-955-9435. You can also go online and apply.
Yes.
And the link to that is likewise scrolling across the screen. So you can fill out the living donor questionnaire. Little shout out to my friend Jonathan. He's sneaking in and watching us tonight on YouTube. Hi, John. So you're trying hard again to get a preemptive kidney transplant. You're
Absolutely.
also listed in one other place currently at VCU Health, the Hume-Lee Transplant Center. The information, the link to apply online is likewise scrolling across the screen. And again, this is all in the comments to the broadcast, okay? So if this is too fast for you, go to YouTube, go to Wendy's broadcast. It's at the top of my page of broadcasts, videos, okay? And the number there to call is 804-828-4104. That's 804-828-4104. So talk to us a little bit, Wendy. Why do you want to have a second kidney transplant? What is your reason for that? Reason or reasons?
So, well, I mean, literally, it's my only option to have another kidney transplant. Dialysis is not an option for me. I could go on dialysis and I guess potentially, have another plan and take that risk again. They did tell me they want to avoid that at all cost.
Yeah.
So I would say that, my reasoning for wanting another kidney transplant is to be able to live my life. I just want to get back to, when you're sick, it's all about the doctors. It's, the hospital. Like I go once a month for infusions. I'm losing weight. I'm tired. You don't feel good. I want to get back to feeling good and being able to enjoy my life. Like, don't get me wrong, there's bumps in the roads. I get it, but not like this.
Okay.
It's a lot.
One of the things that I noticed, Wendy, whenever I download one of your photographs, it's very rare for me to see a picture that is just of you. Most of the time, you're with your husband, you're with your boys,
Yes.
Other people are in the picture. Your family is very important to you, is it not?
My family is the number one reason why I do anything that I do.
Okay.
They're everything to me.
Talk to us about your current EGFR or your percentage of kidney function. Where exactly are you at?
So my GFR is 14 right now. Well, my last visit it was 14. I don't get my blood drawn again until January. So, I'm praying that it will be steady until we can get the donors worked up. As you know, people are symptomatic at different levels. So I've started feeling the fatigue aspect of it, the not wanting to eat aspect of it. But I'm not to the point where, I'm having to watch my phosphates or anything like that yet. I'm having to eat more protein. My hemoglobin is low. We can't keep the hemoglobin up. But those are things, they're par for the course when it comes to losing a kidney, right? Yeah. These are things that we know that happen. So, me doing my part is eating, taking care of myself, resting when I need to rest, saying no to things when I need to say no, and staying healthy right now. Those are my main things to do, and spend as much time with my family as possible.
Okay. And right now, scrolling across the screen, Wendy has a brand new kidney page called Find a Kidney for Wendy Jeffries Crowder on Facebook. We're asking you all to please join that group page and to please share. And that's how you can keep up with what's going on with Wendy. Wendy posts there, I post there. You have a niece that posts there too, correct?
I do, and my sister, Lisa, she's been posting as well.
Yeah, I saw Lisa.
Yeah.
What's the niece's name again?
I'm sorry?
What's your niece's name?
Siobhan.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're in the home stretch. Do you have any statement that you would like to make before we close the broadcast for the evening? Did I forget anything? Is there anything you would like to say to the audience?
You did not forget anything, but I would like to say this. For people who are unsure if they want to donate or not, before you just say no, and yes, I am obviously in need of a kidney, as thousands and thousands of people out there are, but before you say no, inform yourself. Make an informed decision. Fill out the form, call the number, talk to somebody, and then make an informed decision. Because I look at it like, if you're helping somebody now, you're helping them live their life. And by doing that, trust me, they're going to be very, very grateful. Just before you say no, make an informed decision. And if no is what you have, we as transplant patients understand that completely. But to be informed and say no is it's more understandable than just saying no because, we get that you're afraid. But being informed is important for your knowledge, as well as maybe to help somebody else. Maybe it's not me, maybe it's somebody down the line, who knows? But just inform yourself. Even if you don't want to give a transplant, just inform yourself so that you know whether you want to or not, even down the road. Being informed is half the battle.
Okay. And I just want people to know that the National Kidney Foundation tells us, I'm one of their advocates, that there are almost 100,000 people on the waiting list. And last year they transplanted maybe 27,000 people, that 12, 13 people are added to that list every day.
Yeah.
We lose many people that never get a transplant but suffer from kidney disease. So it is imperative that you look into kidney donation, and maybe you help us cut down on that 80,000 group of people that always seem to be on the list and don't move. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even if you don't want to donate now, make sure that you're an organ donor on your driver's license. Organ donation, go to DMV, check that box.
okay. Wendy, I thank you tonight for coming on and taking time to speak with us. I have a little bit of closing up with our audience tonight. I'm going to go over some of the broadcasts that are upcoming, but I'm going to let you go. And I thank you so much for taking time to speak to us, raise awareness about kidney disease, and educate us about paired donation and patients that need kidney transplants.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you.
Oh, no worries. Happy to do it. What a great kidney story.
It is.
All right. You have a good evening. You say hello to your husband for us.
I certainly will. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
All right. This Friday, coming up, our friend Sharon Simpson Rouse is going to be on the program. Sharon is a PKD patient. She's had a kidney transplant. She is a very dedicated and wonderful, wonderful kidney advocate for the NKF, the American Association of Kidney Patients, the American Kidney Fund. She has her own not-for-profit. You've probably seen it around, Kindness for Kidneys. So you do not want to miss that broadcast. That's going to be an excellent broadcast. So, any rate, you guys have a good night. I'll show you a few pictures before we go. This is Wendy and her husband. This is Wendy at Chuck E. Cheese, I think, with maybe it's a grandchild. Wendy and her husband again. Wendy, her husband, and her two sons. Man, Wendy's surrounded by tall men. And there's Wendy again with the boys, I think. So, any rate, you guys have a good night, and I will see you soon. Take care, and don't forget to check out the broadcast this Friday. Mm.